Ooh, ooh, happy Halloween. Hi guys, welcome back. I have a fun little video for you guys today because it is Halloween season. I love Halloween, okay? It's my favorite holiday ever of all time. It's great, it's fun. I love the fall, and I just love everything about it, okay? As an extension of that, I do quite enjoy horror movies, okay? Been watching a lot of them this year, and you know, I just thought it would be fun to come up with like a little listy for you guys for some movie recommendations for Halloween. So this is from me to you. I hope you all enjoy. As you can see, I have my Halloween shirt on. It's a Machine Girl Halloween shirt, which I love very much. I have my spooky lights. I have my PowerPoint presentation ready, and I am ready to talk about some scary movies for you guys. So I did kind of divide these up into 3 categories, kind of like iceberg style. The first category is going to be stuff that's not super gory, not super intense, something more on the cozy side for people who don't like stuff that's too intense. The second tier is going to be, you know, a step above from that, and we're going to kind of gradually get to the super wild, freak, nasty, crazy, weird stuff that I have watched over the course of more or less the last year that I think would be fun Halloween watches for you all. So just like a general content warning, obviously, like these are all, like even the lighter movies, like these are all still like horror movies, right? So if you're not into that, like maybe don't watch this video. All right, here we go. Category 1. Soft, cute, nice. In my opinion, I think they're soft, cute, and nice as far as like horror movies go. All right, first we have, can you read that? I'm gonna have to probably put that up, put like the poster up on the screen. We have a humanist vampire seeking a consenting suicidal person. Came out in 2023, directed by Ariane Luis Ciez. This movie is very cute. I think it's cute. Despite the name, it doesn't really get too heavy or serious as far as like the tone goes. This film is basically about a teenage vampire. She's kind of like a what the kids would call a girl fail, okay? She hates killing. She doesn't like killing. So she's kind of like a bum. She kind of like bums off of her parents' kills for blood because she needs blood, but she doesn't want to kill. So she's kind of like mooching off of her parents. And so her parents are like, you got to get out there and you need to kill somebody because we can't keep taking care of you. Like you're too old for this shit. And so, you know, the rest ensues. I really like the cozy, like I really like the lighting in this movie, and I really like just, I don't know, if you've ever seen Only Lovers Left Alive, it's kind of similar in terms of like the tone, you know, it's very like casual. It has a sleepiness to it that I quite enjoy. I love the acting. I thought it was cute. It was a cute, fun, light watch, and the ending is good. I'll say right now, it has a good ending. Okay, so there is some blood, obviously, but it's nothing that I don't think the average person can't really handle, in my opinion. Okay, next we have The Black Sunday, directed by Mario Bava. And this film is a classic in terms of like how influential it is, or it was, to horror that came after it. It is a pretty classic witch story, in my opinion. It's very folk horror. It's based off of the story V, or V-I-Y, Vi? So it's based off of that book. It is essentially about a witch who 2 centuries prior to when this movie takes place was killed in kind of a gruesome way. I will admit there is a little bit of grisly moments in this, but I don't think it's anything super disturbing, you know. I'm getting ahead of myself. It's basically about this witch who was killed 2 centuries prior to when this movie takes place, and she basically comes back in search of revenge, and it has Barbara Steele in it. She's great. The lighting in this movie, Mario Bava is just like the king of lighting. Like, he just knows how to light a scene and make it look good. I love it. Yeah, it's an old head movie, but like, just throw this on like a nice, cozy, or maybe rainy evening. You know, at this point in time, it's not the most like crazy, out there original thing in the world, but it still holds a place. Like, I still think it's worth watching, if not just for the influence that it's had in horror over the years. Okay, next we have Lisa Frankenstein. I remember seeing trailers for this movie when I would go to the movies like a couple years ago, and I remember seeing the trailers and being like, you know, like, I'm a little, this is just me personally, I am a little bit over the 80s nostalgia. I am a little bit sick of it. It's been, like, we've been at it for what, like 15 years at this point, I feel like, with the 80s nostalgia stuff. I'm kind of over it, I'm not gonna lie, but I still found this movie quite good. I ended up watching it maybe like last Halloween, and I actually really love it. I thought it was so cute and funny, and the soundtrack is actually pretty good, and the acting is great. There are some kills that happen in this, but it's just handled in such a like funny way. It almost kind of has like a Bottoms-esque kind of vibe to it, with just how like zany some of the humor is, you know, if that makes sense. I really liked it. I'm realizing my candelabra hasn't been in frame. Yeah, it's great. It's great. Kind of in the same vein as Humanist, vampire seeking consenting suicidal person. That's such a long name. I feel like these two movies would go good as like a little back-to-back, like, cute, fun watch, you know? Yeah, the premise of this, pretty straightforward. This girl has a crush on this dead guy, and she goes to visit him in a cemetery a lot, and one night he comes to life, and chaos ensues. Essentially, that's all I'm gonna say. But it's very cute. It's very fun. Very light. Okay, we have one from Down Under, Australian horror film Coda from 1987, directed by Craig Leahy. This is a pretty straightforward, almost kind of run-of-the-mill slasher, thriller, mystery kind of movie. Pretty like, you know, there's a guy going around a college campus killing girls. I haven't heard that one before. While this movie isn't the most original or the most, like, groundbreaking, it is still worth watching. I think I like the sets. I think the sets are nice. There is a little bit of comedic relief that's sprinkled throughout the film that makes it more enjoyable, a little bit less melodramatic. It has this weird, like, survival RPG kind of vibe to it. Maybe it's because there's like a part that involves like a key, which is very like, you know, like, I feel like this movie would work really well as a concept for like a obscure like 90s survival horror RPG that was forgotten, that someone will make a video essay about in 20 years, you know. There's a lot of themes of like opera and music and like classical music specifically that kind of lays like a nice aesthetic over this whole film. And it is like a made-for-TV movie, so it is a little bit more on the low-budget side, but I didn't really find that too distracting, honestly. All right, that was it for Category 1. I hope maybe you find something that you like out of Category 1. Next, we're going into Category 2. And Category 2 is a little bit freakier, a little bit weirder. They still got a little bit, they're a little bit restrained in some areas, but not in others, you know. It's a mid-tier. It's a middle tier, middle ground, okay? First film, Dead Ringers, 1988. Dead Ringers, David Cronenberg. In my opinion, one of Cronenberg's best movies. Or at least it is my personal favorite Cronenberg film at the moment. It's tied with Crash, but anyways, this is a thriller psychological horror film. And I know what you're thinking, David Cronenberg, scary body horror guy. This film keeps it pretty subdued with the body horror. There's really only one or two scenes that I was kind of like, whoa. So just keep that in mind. This is much more of a psychological movie, much more psychological, much more psychosexual, much more in the mind, you know. Jeremy Irons is the main guy in this, the guy who plays Scar in The Lion King. Yeah, he was in this movie, and it's crazy. The role that he plays in this movie is crazy. Yeah, so basically, the premise of this film is that it is about two identical twins. Both of them end up becoming gynecologists, and their practice is a little bit questionable, like the way how they run things. It's a little questionable, okay? They have a strange relationship. They're pretty inseparable. Basically, they have a thing between them where they share women, the women that they, practice on. And there's one woman who comes into their life that kind of just, kind of turns everything upside down. And I'll leave it at that. There are some questionable themes in this film, okay? And if incest is something that bothers you, maybe don't watch this. A lot of the sets are very sterile, the acting. I really love this movie. I think it's great. And I love the poster. It's just awesome. The poster is just so sick. I kind of want like a real poster of it. Okay, next we have Thesis. This is a Spanish horror film directed by Alejandro Amenabar. This is also a thriller psychological horror film. This movie gets kind of freaky, a little freaky, very sexual. Okay, there's some sexual things that go on in this. Not explicit. A lot of the horror that takes place in this film is off screen. It leaves a lot to the imagination, which kind of, I have mixed feelings about that, depending on like the context of the film. I think it works in this film. There is like this novella quality to this that at first kind of bugged me, but towards the end, once it started really ramping up in how crazy it got, I ended up quite loving it. Everybody in this movie is kind of hot too, so maybe that's why I like it. But anyways, basically this film is about a college student who is writing her thesis on the psychological effects of people being exposed and witnessing violence. And she basically starts going after and seeking out snuff films, and it kind of ends up with her getting entangled in an actual missing persons case, and it gets very crazy. So yeah, there are themes of like torture and obviously killing in this. There's nothing explicitly shown, not really. It's all very implicit, and it does lean a little bit more into like the kind of psychosexual side of things, the mind, the human condition, things like that. I quite like this film. One of my favorites that I've seen over this last year, definitely, for sure. Next we have Tenebre. This is currently in my top 4 Letterboxd films. Go follow me. My favorite Argento film, directed by Dario Argento. This is my favorite Argento film, period. I like it more than Suspiria. I know that's a little bit controversial. I think this is better than Suspiria. It is very classic giallo kind of setup, but I do think that the twists in this film actually do. I genuinely didn't know what was going to happen at some points. Like, there are some moments where I was like, well, what is going on? Like, who's the killer? Listen, I've actually watched a lot of giallo films over the course of this last year. I don't know what it is. Like, something just got inside my brain, and I was like, I'm gonna watch as many giallo films as I possibly can. And so I've watched quite a few, and after you watch so many, a lot of them kind of start blending in to each other, especially the more like low budget ones. After all of the other films that I've seen, this one still manages to stand out. It's just so great. Essentially, the premise of this film is there is an author a horror author who's currently on tour in Italy, and he basically becomes entangled in a web of murders inspired by his own novels, which is a cool concept, and I really liked it. And I will say the kills in this film are definitely more on the gruesome side, especially towards the end. There are some moments that are a bit disturbing and crazy, and it does get a little splattery. Just keep that in mind. Overall, though, I do think that this film definitely lies a bit more on like the mystery thriller side of things, with a pretty gruesome ending, I'll say. But I really like it. Also, this poster is amazing. I love this poster so much. I want to get a poster of this film on my wall because it's great. It's awesome. Next, we have Stage Fright, 1987, directed by Michel Soavi. This one, I guess, is also technically a giallo, sort of. I would consider this more like a light giallo, just because it doesn't have quite all of the, pinpoints that would make a film a giallo, but I can understand the argument that this would technically be considered one. This is more, in my opinion, a straightforward slasher film. It's essentially about a theater troupe who gets locked in the theater with a psychopathic killer, and they basically have to figure out how to get out and how to survive. And that's pretty much it. Very high energy, very fun, because there is like the theater aspect of it. The lighting is just absolutely amazing. I love the lighting. I also really like a lot of the kills. They definitely do not shy away from showing more blood and guts in this film. I also really love the costumes. I think the costumes are fun because it's theater, right? So a lot of the people getting killed are like literally like in theater costumes, which I think is fun. Okay, here we go. We're in category 3. A little bit about me before we get into this, okay? I am not a huge fan of super serious, super dark, super depressing horror movies. Just genuinely like gut-wrenchingly horrible movies, think like Hereditary. I liked Hereditary. I thought Hereditary was amazing, but I would never watch that movie ever again because it's just it just gets me in a way that I don't particularly like to rewatch. I much prefer crazy, wacky, wild, zany, weird, gross, midnight movies. As far as the kind of extreme movies that I like to watch, some of these do get quite gross and bloody and splattery and guts everywhere, okay? But there is still a level of lightness within them and not taking themselves too seriously. So this is, I'm not gonna put martyrs in here, right? That's not what, see this happy emoji, this emoji, okay, and her. It's to signify that these are crazy and they're super out there and they're super wild, but they're not overly depressing, overly dark, if that makes sense. A lot of these are going to be actually really funny, in my opinion. All right, first we have Slugs, 1988, directed by Juan Piquer Simon. This is more of a sci-fi horror film. I thought this movie was really funny. It's very cheesy. The acting is very cheesy, in my opinion. I believe they filmed half of this movie in Spain, and then the other half of it, I think they filmed in Canada or North America or somewhere not in Spain. And it's really obvious, where they're filming and you know what I mean? There's a pretty strong disconnect in that, which I think is really funny. Essentially, it's about a town in somewhere, I forget where, I think it's supposed to take place in America, that ends up becoming infested and overrun with radioactively mutated slugs. And there's one guy who's kind of trying to get to the bottom of it and trying to figure out how to get rid of these flesh-eating radioactive slugs that are everywhere. There are some gross kills in this. There are some pretty gruesome deaths in this, but I can't help but just giggle a little bit because it is so The slugs are just so cute. Some of them are just so adorable. Like, they're just little slugs, and they're just like, you know, and it is kind of funny just watching people like, ah, 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 and they're just like, it's just like little slimy slugs. I think it's kind of funny. I think it's kind of cute. Yeah, very cheesy, very, very kind of dumb ending, honestly, in my opinion. The ending is kind of stupid, but this whole movie is just very, like, I think it's fun. Definitely, like, throw it on at, like, a Halloween party or something, and people will definitely, like, kind of stop and start watching it, I think. I think all of these movies, you can kind of do that. Okay, next we have The Seventh Curse, directed by Lam Nai Choi. This is a Hong Kong horror film. Oh my god, I honestly don't even have words to describe this film. It is crazy. And when I say, like, crazy, I mean it is crazy. Like, the pacing is absolutely so, like, you can go from just, like, a regular ass scene, and then the next second something absolutely bonkers is happening. I don't even have words to describe how insane this movie is. I really don't want to give any sort of premise on this, because I just want you to watch it. But I'll give you a light premise. It's basically about this doctor who kind of works with the police department, and he ends up facing this curse, this blood curse that he got inflicted with, and he basically has to figure out how to get rid of it. That's all I'm gonna say. That's all I'm gonna say. Please, like, just, oh my god, dude. When I tell you, I actually watched this movie like a couple weeks ago, and when I tell you, I had no idea what I was getting into when I watched this. It is amazing. It is currently on the Internet Archive, I believe. If you want to watch it, just please watch it. It has, like, it's not just a horror film. It has action, adventure, romance. It has everything, dude. It is a bit, there are some moments with some characters that I do find kind of annoying, kind of repetitive, kind of cartoonish, but there is just this crazy, the dichotomy of it all with the super cartoonish, very, like, adventure, kind of Indiana Jones-esque plot that happens, mixed with, like, genuinely gruesome, horrific kills and genuinely disturbing monsters. That's all I'm gonna say. Just watch it. It is, like, you're gonna have your mind blown. I hope you do. Slum City, 1986. Oh my god. This movie is so funny. It is so funny. This is probably, out of all the movies I've shown you, and this one is definitely the most low budget. Every aspect of this film is so amateur and low budget that it just has this charm to it because of it. The sets are awful. The lighting is horrible. The acting is cheesy. It is just peak shitty midnight movie, in my opinion. It was directed by Greg Lamberson, and it's basically about this college student in New York City who moves into a mysterious apartment complex, and he meets these mysterious people, and he drinks slime, and it turns him into a slime monster. And you know what I will say? The soundtrack is actually really good. I don't know, like, what the hell this guy was cooking, okay, when he made the soundtrack. Whoever made the soundtrack, I'll put the credit up on the screen. But damn, bro, like, there's some songs in here that are actually really good. Like, really good. Like, after I watched this film, I was like, dude, I need to go and, like, find the soundtrack to this movie and listen to it. Because, honestly, if you kind of like surf rock, kind of garage rock, like kind of vibes, I think it's good. And there's one song in here that's kind of like almost like dungeon synth, dare I say. The soundtrack is unnecessarily good for how amateur and shitty this movie actually is, but it has a charm to it. It has a charm. It has its place. The ending scene is so freaking funny, dude. It is so funny and so awesome. Like, oh my god, I think you can watch this on Tubi right now. It is so low budget and so fun and so wacky and wild, and I just have, like, I just ended up really liking it by the end of it. I don't know. It really won me over because of just how, like, stupid it is. I don't know. I love it. I love it. It's great. And this film doesn't really get that gory. It's all of the gore is slime. Like, it's not blood. Like, there's blood, but it's just like most of like the grossness is slime related. So not super gory. Just putting it out there. Okay, next we have Body Melt, 1993. This is an Australian movie, another movie from Down Under, directed by Philip Brophy. Now, if you want freak, nasty, gross body horror, like Cronenberg's The Fly, or like more like The Fly or like Videodrome kind of body horror, Body Melt, I think, will be for you. This movie gets freak, nasty, crazy, wild with it. Like, oh my god. It is so incredibly 90s. Be prepared. Like, the outfits, the sets, like the houses, it is just so 90s. And if you really like the 90s, like you will appreciate like just the general aesthetic of this film. It's very, very nostalgic in that way. Basically, the premise of this film is incredibly simple and straightforward. It is about a vitamin company who is testing out new product on unsuspecting suburban families, and they're kind of mailing them this powder supplement that they take, and it has some pretty wicked side effects. I'll just say that. That's all I'm going to leave it at. Very simple, very straightforward, very gross and nasty, disgusting shit. I think there is something involving like a pregnant woman, so just, you know, if that's something that maybe you're sensitive to, like maybe skip that scene. I will say my one critique of this film is that there is a B plot that I wasn't really a big fan of. It's basically kind of like a Texas Chainsaw Massacre, kind of like creepy hick family B plot that I personally didn't really see the point of. I think it was just to flesh out the runtime of this film because it barely hits like an hour and 20 minutes, I think. I didn't think it needed to be in there. That's my one critique of it. I guess I can kind of see why they added it, but I don't know. I just like all of the like crazy shit. Okay, last but not least, we have Braindead or Dead Alive. I believe it goes under that name as well. Directed by, yes, Peter Jackson, the guy who made Lord of the Rings. Yes, he made this film. Woo! Okay, this is definitely more of a comedy. Oh my god, this movie is disgusting. Do not watch this film if you have a sensitive stomach. It is gross. It is gross in more than a few ways, okay? Yeah, so basically it is a typical kind of zombie infection kind of movie. Basically, this woman goes to a zoo and gets bit by a monkey that has like this infection, and she gets caught with this virus that makes her start kind of decomposing and want to eat people, you know, very typical like zombie infection film. It is not typical in the fact that this movie gets so bloody, when like Evil Dead levels of like just blood on the walls, blood on the floor, blood on the ceiling, guts everywhere, squishy, slimy, nasty, gross, stuff gets put into a blender, people cut in half. All of the movies that I just said, like in this category, like do not watch if you have a sensitive stomach, but this especially do not watch if you have a sensitive stomach. It is very, very, very lighthearted as far as like the ongoings of this film. It's very quick paced. Like it goes by pretty fast. Everything happens all at once, it feels like. And by the end of it, there's just piles and piles of people. It's just, I don't know, bro. Like I watched this and I was like, dude, this is the guy that made Lord of the Rings? For realsies? Really? Yeah, it's gross, but I quite enjoyed it. Not really a whole lot of themes or like meaning. It feels like it's just I'm thinking about it. I'm thinking about the movie right now and I'm getting a little nauseous. But yeah, that being said, that's it. That's the end of the list of my recommendations. I do have some movies that I had set off to the side that I personally will be watching this Halloween season. Just to name, I'll name them really quickly. I have a little list on my Letterboxd. So, movies that I am planning on watching this Halloween season so far. Fright Night, the original, I've never seen it. Basket Case 2, because I liked Basket Case 1. And maybe Basket Case 3 if I end up liking the second one too. The City of the Living Dead, From Beyond, Salem's Lot, Evil Dead 2013, haven't seen that one. Brain Damage, The Blob from the 80s. Opera, The Beyond, House. Yes, I haven't seen House yet. The thing with House, it's one of those movies where like I've seen it on the TV at like gay bars and I'll kind of sit and watch it, and then like I've also seen it on the TV at like a Halloween party and I'll sit and I'll watch it, but I've never sat down and watched the full thing like from start to finish, and I really need to do that. I'm kind of pinching myself for having not done that sooner. So yes, House is on the list. The Unholy and Dead Silence. That's what I have so far. So if any of those movies seem interesting to you, maybe watch them too. I can't say I can recommend them because I haven't seen them yet, but you know, if you need more movies, then hey, there you go. That's what I'm going to be watching this Halloween season. But yeah, that's pretty much it. That's all I really had to say. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you like any of the movies or didn't like any of the movies I talked about, feel free to comment down below and tell me why. If you have any other movie recommendations, feel free to drop them in the comments. I'm always looking for new stuff to watch. I do watch a lot of movies. But yeah, I will see you all in the next video. I hope you have a good day. Ooh, I'll see you in the next video.